All right, we're about to kick off with Wise Money Live. Today's topic is going to be on mortgage equals slavery. Uh, I'm going to take a few minutes here and just go right to the jugular this morning. We're going to start off with a short video and pre-recorded video, then open it up for some live discussion. I have a few things to talk about, a few opportunities to share. But always, as always, you can jump in and we can have a conversation about life and money, personal finance, everything from investing to budgeting, communication about finances with your spouse, and all those wonderful topics. There's a lot to unpack and a lot to talk about. So we're going to get an opportunity and open up that type of discussion today. And so we're going to go and jump things off in about 6 minutes or so. In about 6 minutes, we're going to go live and get started with our pre-recorded video. Now, one of the fun things about this topic is I was talking to my wife kind of after I pulled the trigger on it, and we definitely was an interesting discussion by titling "Mortgage to Slavery" because a mortgage is definitely one of the opportunities in our lives to well, let me backtrack on that. A home is definitely an opportunity in our life to change our lives. It is one of the most substantial goals that most people have in their lives to physically show improvement, to produce hope. It is a legacy changer. I know plenty of people who came out of apartments, out of poverty, out of living in slum locations, and one of the biggest dreams in their life is to have a home and to own a home. There are a lot of people, especially in North America and especially in the States, who kind of a little bit take it for granted how home ownership is not a guarantee in life. It is absolutely a privilege and it's an honor. And but the process to get there, we can go a different way than what we've been sold. We can go a different way than what I bought into. We can go a different way than actually producing a mortgage to reach that dream. So we're going to touch upon that in the video and kind of highlight it a bit, and then open it up for any questions for anybody who jumps on. Then secondarily, we're going to give an opportunity. I'm going to go down and walk through some processes to be able to help folks actually take a little bit more of a tactical approach to be able to get home ownership. And we're going to shift it to something I like to call, which is invest your payments. Where I'm going to actually show you how to use an investment that's on our Wise investment list. Is actually one of our bottom tier ones, but it's a phenomenal investment. It's the Fidelity Total Market Index Fund, and I'm going to show you how to use that. You use investment growth instead of the process of acquiring a mortgage to actually acquire a home. Now, it takes a bit more patience. I'm not going to lie. It's a bit of a different journey. But I believe that the fruit of that is actually a lot more beneficial in your life when we transform our total way of doing life to a way of actually learning how to invest and learning how to produce from our seeds, from our income. And then we also take that investments and learn how to manage and use them to buy assets. And to buy things that have value and reduce the amount of purchases that actually lose value over time. It's one of the wealth building secrets out there is you use your income to buy things of value, invest, produce an income, and from that, buy things that can produce an income. It's a little bit of a nuance there. So So out of that home, there's a lot of opportunity and family growth. But hey, you know what? Go ahead and start your business. Go ahead and launch a home-based business. Launch a YouTube channel. Do something. Learn how to do Amazon. There's 10 billion ways for you to use your gifts and talents along this journey. One of the ways in which I'm going to show you actually on this process is just to take some of your resources and put it to a side and some proven low risk, high quality, high return investments that will give you a nice, solid ability to be able to buy your assets with cash. Financial freedom is one of those things that a lot of people really aspire to have in a life, but I believe it's a misnomer. It's misunderstood to a very high degree. Freedom doesn't have payments associated with it. Freedom has choice associated with it. There is a oxymoron of when I go and use a credit to actually go get something, and then I create a payment, and then I have to go through a mental exercise on how to navigate the payments. That's not freedom. That is just another form of slavery, where I have to actually transform my life and the way I do business and the way I operate my family, and add on those different levels of anxiety and headspace that I got to operate in just to try to live out life a bit. So it's not something that I recommend. But for today, let's go ahead and get started with our video for today. And then we're going to hop into our discussion right after it. So it's a short 6.5-minute video that I'm going to share with you guys. And I pray that I pray this video blesses you, and you get the opportunity to, excuse me, you get the opportunity to actually really gain something from this video. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and start this video up, and I hope that it blesses you. Welcome to Wise Money Live, an experience hope that will transform life. We go live every Tuesday from 9 a.m. 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Connect with us at freewisemoneyclass.com. We talk about life and money and life, everything personal finance, from investing to budgeting to saving, marital communication about money, and getting out of debt. So what we're going to talk about today is mortgage and how a mortgage equals slavery. Now, what does that mean? On dictionary.com, it's part of the definition says a slave is a person entirely under the domination of some influence or person. Now, the truth of the matter is we transform our lives to be able to acquire a mortgage. We become under the influence of the process to get there. So let's talk about that a little bit further. So when you're trying to get a mortgage, you study how to actually fix your credit. So you're going to apply for credit cards. You're going to make sure your student loans are paid. You're going to do all these things. You're going to improve your spending habits, clean up past mistakes. You're going to bend your personal lifestyle to improve your credit score so you can apply for this loan. That is becoming under the entire dominant and influence of the process to be able to get a mortgage. It's not the house itself that's the issue, it's the process to get the mortgage. Now, another path is you can actually save up cash for this. Now, this is going to sound different. I'm going to show you how to do this towards the end of the video. But basically, you're going to study how to fix your credit. You can improve your spending habits. You can clean up your past mistakes. Or you can take a slightly different path and you can learn how to invest your payments instead of have them. And learn how to invest your money. So you still want to improve your
your spending habits because you need to have money to invest. You need to actually clean up your past mistakes 100% because you don't want your past holding you back from actually being able to advance your future. So you definitely want to have solid saving habits. You want to have solid spending habits. But the critical component is the difference in this equation is to focus in on investing instead of focusing on building up your credit. So what's next in this process is we want to learn just some fundamentals on how to actually get there. One of the first things we want to do is actually start with starter emergency fund. I 100% agree with Dave Ramsey on this. He recommends $1,000, and so do a lot of other personal finance gurus. $1,000 would fit most people's budget. If you're making less than $20,000 a year, $500 might be what you need. If you're going above $100,000 a year and you have some more toys in your life, then you might need to go up a little more than that. So you could go up as much as $2,500, you need $5,000 at the start of the emergency fund. Now, one of the big things that this also says is you want to do a snowball effect. Once again, I agree with him on that. I believe in the snowball versus the actual paying off your highest interest rate. The math makes sense in a calculator, 100% paying off the highest interest rate wins every time. The problem is that math is not the reason why you got into debt. The math ain't the reason you don't get out of it. It is our habits, it's our emotions, it's our desire to not have patience and wait for what we want. So what the snowball actually does in a sense that maybe it doesn't catch, it actually produces hope in our life. Romans 5:5 says that not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. What we produce in this process financially is debt-free. What we produce in this process from a spiritual and emotional perspective is hope. How does this happen? Well, not only that, but we rejoice in improving our spending habits to buy a house with cash, knowing that improving our spending habits produces endurance and our financial freedom. And endurance produces character of patience, self-control, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. This sounds specifically like a testimony. And once you garner this testimony in life, nobody can take that away from you. Because once you've done this to produce that level of hope and you have that reservoir of hope in your life, it cannot be taken away. So what we're going to do is we're going to transition once we get debt free to invest your payments. You invest your car payment and the credit card payments. We're going to say $563 for your car payment, $271 for your credit card payment. These are the average car payments in the USA, and I have some links at the bottom kind of showing you where to get the information. You get $834 to invest total. $834 at 13.06% annual growth rate for 10 years. Where I get that number from is actually from the actual investment inside our WISE investment list, which has over 30 investments that produce a minimum of 16.14% annual growth rate for at least 10 years. So this particular one has done 13.06 for over 15 years, about 19 years straight. It is absolutely phenomenal. So over that time frame, you'll have about $200,000 in your account to be able to buy a house with cash. Now that is a big difference maker, So what we want to do is encourage you to do something different, because this type of hope is the type of hope that will transform how you experience life. Join us next time for Wise Money Live. Like and click down below, subscribe.
All right, fantastic. So that was a little short video on mortgage equals slavery. And just going back to a little bit at the beginning stages here, where I got the definition from. It's off dictionary.com, and the number two, the noun, is a person entirely under the domination of some influence of person. And I 100% believe that to be accurate. Proverbs says that the rich rule of the poor and the borrower is slave to the lender. And this really doesn't, it really applies to any type of actual lending, because we literally transform our lives to be able to make payments. It dramatically affects our lives in the process to be able to acquire a loan. It dramatically affects our lives in the process of maintaining it. And it dramatically affects our lives if we go negative on it. We are entirely under the domination of the influence when we submit to it. And the mortgage is one of the strongest culprits out there. All right, so let's talk about a couple things. Let's go to, and actually, let's touch on this from a budgeting standpoint. Because one of the things we shared in there was actually in this particular video, and I just threw this together to kind of give you kind of a walkout example of how this process will really work in real time. So, say for instance, you're starting from ground zero, and you was able to actually redo your budget, cleaned up a few things, cancel some unnecessary subscriptions, cancel that subscription to the gym membership that you haven't been to in 6 months. You're still paying for it, even though the virus is closed the gym. But you have all these type of things you was able to squeeze out, maybe get an extra job in this job market where there are more opportunities than not. So you was able to squeeze out $250 to say you started off in November. You was able to acquire extra $250, and boom, here we go. So what that's going to do is you got $1,000 emergency fund just for yourself to get started. We got about $850 balance here, $10,000 car note, just some easy round numbers, just to kind of have a discussion about it. And and then we go over here to our goals calculator, and this walks out when we would actually accomplish these things. This level of visual hope is absolutely transformative. It is one of the biggest, most transformative things we can actually do in our process, is to actually come through and actually see when we actually will get out of debt or accomplish any goal. So say for instance, so we got that extra $250 a month, and we have the first goals that start $1,000, January, boom, done. Then we take that $250 a month, and excuse me, and this MasterCard has been paying, we've been paying it down up until that point, but then all of a sudden, January, we add on these additional payments, and then all of a sudden, boom, in March, actually, it happens in March on here, sorry. In March, we add on an additional $250, and then all of a sudden, pow, this is the debt snowball. Larger payment, we paid off that balance in just a couple of months. It was trickling down up until that point, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's done, it's dead, and we move on. Now we got this Visa card. We had a $95 payment up to that point. We were knocking it down, for this particular card, apparently had a fairly low interest rate on it. And then all of a sudden, boom, we start adding in these extra payments, and all of a sudden, just in a couple of months, it's gone. And then you got the big dog here. You got your car note, and you're just paying it down, 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 until you get to a point of now you have this extra money coming in. And now you got $635, $958 total getting slammed into the payment. And just a few months later, you are debt free, at least with these, in this particular example, with your credit cards and the car note. So what does that mean? That means that if these are all of your debts, then now you have this additional $958 in actual money to take and reallocate every single month towards investing. So you budgeted, you killed it, you got it done, and now you got $958 a month that you can wield into an investment. So this is an example of hope, because not only that, but we rejoice in our suffering, knowing that suffering produces endurance. We suffer, we sacrifice for about a year. We sacrificed for a little, just over a year, to be able to clean this up, get this squared away. And during that time frame, I know I've actually had quite a few clients through the WISE coaching, personalized one-on-one coaching process, that have never had savings in their life. So the very first tactical thing of being just a little bit of sacrifice to put $1,000 in the bank was absolutely a game changer. Because if you never had cash in the bank that puts a buffer between you and life, it's hard to explain the freedom of having money to take care of when the tire blows, money to take care of the next car maintenance, money to take care of this, my child broke their phone, money to take care of life little things. And when you have cash in the bank to take care of that, the level of hope and freedom that comes along with that is completely unimaginable if you never experience it. So it's a big deal. So in that process, that level of suffering that goes through that process, we literally learn how to rejoice in that suffering, because it taught us how to endure, because we got cash in the bank. And that character traits of having self-control and patience, being proven faithful in the process, all those things come together. And there's no shame in that. Literally, nobody can take your testimony away, whether they do not understand it or not, whether they understand it or not. Absolutely a blessing. So let's take what's that number we came up with? The end process dollar figure was $958. And let's take that and let's throw that into our calculator here. WISE investment list. That's part of our calculator. We have a free calculator to give away. The list has a little bit of a cost to it, but let's talk about this. So let's this right here is the Fidelity Total Market Index Fund. It's one of the investments that's on our WISE investment list of more than 24, more than 40, about 40 investments that all produce over 16.41% over a 10, a 5, a 3, and a 1 year average. So they've been killing it for a while. We got some investments on here that's been doing this since 2001. We got 1999, 98. So we got some long histories on here. 97. This one has been doing it since 97. The Fidelity Total Market Index Fund. So it's been rocking and rolling for multiple decades. Anyway, so let's get back over to the calculator. So we take that $958 a month, and the 16.53% is 16.56%. I literally went to the website today, and today is October the 12th, and 2021. And here we go. I just pulled it right off the website. 15.9. Well, let's use the lowest one. 15.96%. Let's change that. Boom. Let's go with the lowest one available. And the current market price, pulled that right off the website. Let's go back to the summary here. We have $125.33, and annual distribution that came from adding up the dividends over here and the fees and distributions. Boom, right there. The last two is semi-annual. They have 2 a year. So those are the last two. Current expense ratio is right on this front. Oh, wait, got it right here on this front page. 0.015%, phenomenal ratio there, and 1.24% yield. So, and I won't explain that, but basically that's how much of this into this. And then how much has been growing. Well, it hasn't really been growing much this last, it's been relatively steady. So we're now, so what happened is if we invested in this, so it took us a year to actually get out of debt. And then we take that $958. And I'm saying this never goes up. You never do anything different. You never get a raise. We never acquire any other funds. Never use any gift money. So this is kind of staying consistent over that time frame. So this would be at our longest if we wanted a 250,000. If you want to have $250,000 available to buy a house, then this would lend to that in 10 years. Now, one of the things we want to kind of fully express in this process is the fact. There's a very simple fact when you buy cash for things. When you buy cash, just the patience, just a level of patience that is produced in the process produces another level of patience of you want to buy for more than what you paid for. You want the value of it to be more than what you paid for. So when I go with 250,000 cash, I'm not buying a $250,000 home. I'm buying a $300,000 home, a $350,000 home, a $400,000 home. The reality of it is when I go in with cash, cash is king and it talks. And you got 250,000 cash, and you walk in with somebody who is going through foreclosure and getting ready to lose everything in their life, and you have cash to buy their house, and they're in a desperate situation, you are a blessing in their life. And they will take your cash because they don't have to try to wait and see if you go through the closing process and whether or not you actually have the credit to be able to buy the house at whatever the retail value of that thing is at the moment. That cash will talk, and it'll talk loud. So that 250,000 house will buy you a big house, a nice house, a nicer house, not in California, but in most parts of the country. It'll buy you a pretty nice house and get you some a pretty good deal on what you're looking for. So in that process, in those years, you're also learning how to find a house through untraditional markets. You look how to do it through foreclosure, through short sales, how to find deals, how to actually look at those lists, those tax deals when the government actually takes possession of properties. So different ways you can actually buy these properties that's not going through the traditional lender, real estate, realtor process. So yeah, just wanted to kind of walk this through with you and give you a broad overview of what this really looks like from a more tactical perspective. And this by no way is actually trying to condemn a buying a home. This is by no way trying to take away the journey and the joy of home ownership. This is about doing it a different way, a way that the Bible says will not produce you to be a slave to the lender. But what we're going to do is we transform our lives to actually living a life of hope, where we surrender to a process to where when we look back on things that some others would call trauma, and we look at back at our journey in our life, and we can rejoice in the sufferings. That is freedom. That is hope, is when we can actually go through our journey in our life and we can enjoy in the sufferings. So today I want to just leave you with this. I challenge you with only one thing in life, and that is to actually go through life with the hope and the opportunity, with the desire to experience a hope that will transform how you experience life. So I pray that this particular lesson blesses you in some way, and I hope that you will produce hope in your life that will transform how you experience life. So you have a blessed day and enjoy your journey, and I will talk to you another day. Bye bye.